Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. If this is your first visit, big fat welcome. If you are a returner, then I've created a new section on the YouTube channel and it's called Guide To. So over the coming months, what I plan to do is for beginners, intermediates to angling, is cover different subjects. And on this first one, we're going to be talking about match fishing. For those of you that read the column in the Lincolnshire World and see the match results, it might not be something you've done before. You might not have actually attempted to fish a match and wonder what it entails. You know, how is competition sport in fishing? A lot of people think it's just pure luck, but it's absolutely not. And I'm here now at my local fishery just to show you really a little bit about what it entails. So when it comes to match fishing, I'd say that there are three types of match fishing. The first one would be a club competition. So what that could be is a group of anglers that are part of perhaps a social club or a club that's been set up specifically for fishing, and they may have a water of their own. They might have a lake or a pond, and they'll host competitions on their what you would call their home water. It may be that that club then visits venues around the local area. They'll hire a lake or a water for the day. A lot of these local clubs are all about the social side of things, not taking things too seriously, but they may well have a championship running as well. So you will earn points. If you finish first in the match, you'll get maximum points, right the way down to those guys that have struggled a wee bit and they'll not get so many points. And at the end of the season, there will be a club champion. There'll be various trophies up for grabs as well. So that could be one element of match fishing. The second element, I would say, would be open competitions, and I'd liken that to perhaps a golf tournament. Similar to the club situation, it might be that a golf club would have matches or competitions on their local golf course, but they might also have open events where anybody can enter, so that would attract professionals and perhaps a higher standard of angler as well. And they will take place across fisheries all over the UK. And the third, I would say, are what we'd call a big money event. And what I mean by that is normally you would need to qualify, and some of the big money events we have here in the UK are the likes of Fishermania, Match This, Golden Reel, Golden Rod, Fishing Association. And believe it or not, some of these, the prize winnings can be up to £100,000. So if you're thinking that there's no money in match fishing, well, over the last probably 20-25 years, that's really changed. Things have become a lot more professional, a lot more competitive, but there are different levels that you can go in at. As I say, for me, if you've never fished a match before, rather than diving straight into an open event on your local water, it might be best to join a local club and fish with people, like-minded anglers, where it's slightly less competitive and less serious. But either or, some anglers will perhaps only fish one venue, somewhere close to home, somewhere it's comfortable and they know well. And that's a good option to begin open matches, because you become what's known as a bit of a venue expert. Now, to enter these matches, you need to understand that there would be what's called pools. So that is your entry fee, basically. And out of that entry fee, it may well be that the fishery that you're on, you need to pay what's called the peg fee. So where you're going to be located for that day, that needs to be paid for, because the fishery needs to earn money, of course. And that could be anything. So if it's on a natural venue, which would be, say, a river, a canal, there's no controlling clubs or waters, then the peg fee tends to be quite low, which means that the pool's payout at the end will be quite high. But as an example here, this water I'm at today, White House Farm, I think it's £6 a day. So as an example, if the pools, so the entry fee is £20, the fishery will take out £6 of that and leave £14 as a prize pot. And of course that will then be multiplied by however many people have entered the competition. So essentially you'll pay your pools and then you'll draw your peg at the draw. You'll then make your way to your peg, where you'll be given a certain amount of time to set up. And that means getting all your kit ready and getting your equipment and your tackle to target that peg that you're going to be located on for that day. So on this lake here, we have a little look. You can see this is a bit more of a wider open water. This is the carp pool here at my local fishery, where it's not necessarily match fished very often, but they do have a few competitions every year. And it could be that this peg here would be where you're located for 5 or 6 hours, and you've got to approach that and then work out what tactics you're going to employ and see what fish you can catch. So the first thing to point out on the fishery is these little numbers just here. You can see that there. That is called peg 10. So if you're wandering around your local fishery and you see these little areas with numbers and you're wondering what they are, this is called a peg. And a peg's important because that's where you're going to be locating yourself for the 5 or 6 hours duration, which is pretty standard for a match. So this is peg 11, you can see. If I drew that, and I'll talk about the draw in a wee while, that is where I'd be locating myself for the next 5 or 6 hours, peg 11. So now we know all about pegs, and we also know about pools. What is the draw, which I alluded to before? So you can see it's down to the match organizer really. All he or she needs to do is correlate these little wooden pegs or whatever they're going to use, some discs or numbers, to the pegs that are around the venue that you're going to be fished. So simply, if we're going to miss out number 3, number 6, number 9, etc, etc, and then these are all going to go into a little bag, and then we're going to draw, hence the name, the pegs that the angler is going to fish. Here we go. Pick a number. What is it?
7.
Let's have a look. 16.
16.
Flyer. A flyer. Now that's some more terminology for you. A flyer is basically a well-known peg that's got good form. So if you ever hear the term you've drawn a flyer, it means you're in a good area. Now that is called the luck of the draw. Pools paid, peg drawn, you may have drawn a flyer. What next? Rules. Very, very important. Rules for fishing? Well, the main reason when it comes to rules in match fishing is pretty much for fish welfare. So, first rule, a lot of fisheries will insist on net limits. This is a keep net. That's what you're going to be keeping your fish in for the 5 or 6 hours duration of the match. And some fisheries will insist that you can only put so many in, and that's great for fish welfare. We normally weigh matches in pounds or kilos, and it might be that there's a £50 net limit in the keep net. Next rule, hooks, very, very important. It might be that some fisheries insist on barbless hooks only. Next up, bait limits. You'll see tons and tons of bait on your local tackle shop shelves, and a lot of venues will ban some of it. For example, pellets. So these are various pellets manufactured from different companies, but a lot of fisheries may insist that you use fishery only pellets. Luncheon meat, lots of venues ban luncheon meat, so it's really, really important that you check the bait limits, the bait rules and the net limits on the match that you're intending to fish. So the aim of the game, so you paid your pools, you've drawn your peg, you understand the rules, you're then going to decide your tactics. And every time you catch a fish, you're going to put those in your keep net, aren't you, Hazel? And then at the end of the 5 or 6 hours...
I'm getting my fishing rod.
Yes. At the end of the 5 or 6 hours, those fish are going to be weighed, as I mentioned before, in pounds or kilos. And ultimately, the person that has the most cumulative weight of fish, so that could be 100 small fish that weigh £20, or one great big fish that weighs £20. But ultimately the largest cumulative weight of fish will be the winner of the match. Sometimes as well, and be aware of, is within the match there may be what's called sections, and that's breaking that match down into smaller sections to allow for better prize giving. So it could be that there's 20 anglers on a lake, and that's then broken down into 4 sections of 5. So all you then need to do is beat 4 anglers within your section. You've got a chance of potentially winning your money back. You may also have a top 1 and a top 2. It all depends on how many are fishing, how the match organiser runs it. So there you go. That is a guide to UK match fishing. Terminology wise, flyers, pegs, draw, pools, lots to think about. But hopefully that will give you a chance. If you've never done it before, highly recommended. Seek out your local club, join up, fish a few matches with those guys, like-minded characters, and then see where you go from there. Next step from me will be a live match where I will put everything that I've just discussed into practice. So cheers for watching, and if you like it, subscribe.